Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're inside Copper Custom. We received a new handgun that I've been desperately wanting to shoot. A handgun I've handled several times but never had the opportunity to actually pull the trigger on. The gun we're going to be shooting today is the new Hudson 9. It's a 9mm handgun that has been touted as being a striker-fired 1911. I don't think it is a striker-fired 1911. I think it's much more than that, but we'll find out more about this handgun after we get it to the range. So let's pack things up, get in the Jeep, and head out to the property and do some shooting. All right, guys, here we go. This is the moment of truth. Believe it or not, I've never actually pulled the trigger on a live round with the Hudson 9. I've handled it at trade shows, but I've never fired it until right now. This is the moment of truth, and we're not going to be easy on it. We brought out a whole box full of different flavors of ammunition. The first 3 magazines we're going to run through the gun, some 124 grain Freedom munitions. This is the stuff you see me using here on the channel all the time. This is some American Eagle from Federal. This is a 115 grain ball. And then we have some Brown Bear. This is some old steel cased, lacquered, really dirty, nasty stuff. It'll be interesting to see if it runs that. And I think we have a few other boxes of random stuff in here as well to try out with the Hudson. First of all, I want to see if the ambi slide release works. It does. Look at that. Huh. Maybe Remington could take a few design cues from the guys over at Hudson. Sorry, guys. Couldn't resist. That was too easy. Okay, 124 grain ball, Freedom munitions. Very first magazine. Wow. All right, locked open, everything. I shot low on that first shot, that's just me. Every single gun, the very first time I shoot it, I flinch, and I don't know why. Now, that 124 grain Freedom stuff isn't the hottest stuff out there. It's just a basic target load, and that was really, really mild recoil. Now, here's some American Eagle 115 grain stuff. Let's see if the Hudson cycles it. Wow, okay. 2 magazines in, perfect function, and I love the way the gun shoots. It does not feel like it's moving much. I mean, this is purely subjective, input, but the gun feels very, very mild. Now, that 115 grain American Eagle definitely has a little bit more oomph to it. I can just feel that, but still the recoil impulse is extremely pleasant. The trigger is nice and clean. I have to shoot it some more to get more of a feel for it. Now, this is 115 grain ball. This is the 9mm Brown Bear. This is steel cased Russian, really low quality ammunition. Let's see how the Hudson fares with the junk ammo. Wow, what's funny is that stuff's even a little bit warmer than the Freedom 124 grain. That stuff's pretty stoutly loaded, at least it seems to be. But 100% function, guys. And the gun seems to be shooting to point of aim. I'm hitting center mass. Sights need no adjustment whatsoever. I love that bright orange dot. And the recoil feels really, really good on this handgun. We're going to load up some more magazines. We have 3 here. We're going to see if we can find 3 different flavors of ammo and see what else we can feed it and see if we can get it to have any problems. But those were the very first 3 magazines ever fired through this gun, guys. And so far, I'm liking what I'm feeling and seeing. Let's take a look at the packaging that the H9 comes in and take a look at what it comes with. Now, I know a lot of guys, when they pay over $1,000 for a handgun, they always like to complain about the packaging. Well, if you're one of those guys that doesn't like just a vanilla cardboard box, you enjoy paying extra for really, really nice packaging, you're going to be elated. The H9 comes in some of the best packaging I've seen. This is a cardboard box, but it's a very heavy-duty textured box. It has a magnetic flap on it, which is a nice touch. You open it up, it's well branded, looks very high quality. Inside you have the pistol. This is a high density foam that fits the pistol very, very tightly. You have a cutout here so you can pull the gun out. It does fit snugly into its foam. You'll see a little tab here. This is for your thumb. You can pull this out, and inside you'll find some Hudson 9 swag, which you can put on the window of your vehicle if you're so inclined. You have an owner's manual, which seems to be printed on nice stock. If I can get it out of here without mangling it. And yeah, it tells you everything you need to know about the pistol. Has nice imagery, very easy to read text. So there you go, there's your owner's manual. Inside we have one magazine in the pistol. We have 2 extra 15-round magazines down below, and then a safety lock. So now let's put everything back together. And there you have your Hudson 9 packaging. All right, so we found 3 different flavors of ammunition that are different from the 3 flavors we used on the very first 3 magazines we put through the gun. And what we have here is some 124 grain 9mm Winchester NATO ball. We have some Blazer brass cased ammunition. This is 115 grain. And then we have some Aguila 124 grain ball rounds, all these ball rounds. Okay, so let's try the Winchester first. This should be a NATO standard ball round, and let's see how the gun handles. Okay, so that was definitely the warmest ammo we've shot this afternoon. Recoil's very manageable. All right, so now we're moving over to the 115 grain Blazer brass. I wouldn't exactly call this the highest quality ammo. What's kind of funny is I can feel inconsistencies in the loads. One will be a little bit sharper recoil than the other one. The powder charges are inconsistent. All right, cycled 100% there. These are the 124 grain 9mm Aguila loads. And perfect function yet again. All right, guys, those are the first 6 magazines fired out of this gun. You guys are coming along with us, and we've had 0 malfunctions. Now, I don't think we have any hollow point ammunition to try in the gun. We'll do that later. This is just a hello gun video. This is our very first range session with the gun. I wanted to get an idea of how it was going to work right out of the box. We did, as I mentioned, lubricate the gun before we started our shooting this afternoon, and so far we've had 0 issues with the gun. That's impressive. I'm very happy so far. I like the way the gun shoots. It balances well. I don't know if it really shoots that much more different than a 9mm 1911. That's what we're going to try next. I'm going to fire 15 rounds out of this, and then I'm going to fire a magazine out of the 9mm 1911 and see if I can tell a noticeable difference in terms of perceived recoil and the management of that recoil. So we chose the Winchester 124 grain NATO loads. Those seem to be the warmest, just based upon my perception of recoil of all the ammunition we tried this afternoon. So we have 15 rounds of it loaded into the Hudson 9's magazine. Then we have 9 rounds loaded into the 9mm 1911. You can see they're roughly the same size. One is just a little bit thicker, but the Hudson 9 gives you 6 more rounds. Now I will say the Hudson feels every bit as ergonomic as the 1911 in my hands, perhaps even more so. So this slightly thicker magazine doesn't translate into a grossly thicker grip. It doesn't feel that way. This 1911 certainly feels good. I like the way 1911s feel, but the Hudson 9 feels every bit as good to me personally, all subjective, as the 1911, but we get 6 more rounds. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire the magazine out of the Hudson 9 here really quick, and then I'm going to grab the 1911 and fire its rounds and see if I can tell a difference in how I can manage the recoil of the gun. Okay, that was the Hudson. Let's give the 1911 a try. Now I will say the 9mm 1911s, I found them to be finicky because the metal slides are the same mass basically as a 45. The springs are lighter and sometimes they're just finicky. That's why I've chosen the hotter 9mm ball for this particular test. All right, let's see how the 9mm 1911 does. Holy cow, guys. Okay, there is definitely more muzzle rise to this gun. I can definitely feel more muzzle rise. That front sight unsettles far more than it does with the Hudson 9. I'm gonna let Jason shoot it. I wanna see if he feels the same way, but I want him to be honest. I mean, in my honest opinion, the Hudson 9 does feel like I have more control over it, even though this 1911 is chambered 9mm. I mean, okay, wow. I didn't expect that. That was kind of cool. Let's take a look at some of the features of the H9, then let's tear it apart and see what it looks like on the inside, because that's what I think you guys are going to want to see the most. I know that's what I was most intrigued by, was what was going on down here. All right, first of all, let's go over some of the features of the handgun. It has a 1911 style grip. I will not say it's a 1911 grip. I don't even know that 1911 grip panels will actually fit the gun, but it certainly has that look and has a very familiar feel. You will find a very fine texturing on the back strap and again on the front strap. It's very, very mild, but it feels like it gives a good grip, but it's not overly aggressive, so it doesn't hurt your hand when you shoot it. The gun does set very deep in the hand, has a nice large dovetail back here. This may look like a grip safety, however, it is not a grip safety. That's just its dovetail, and you can see how low it sets in my hand. You'll notice it has a striker plate back here. That's because, again, this is a hammerless gun. It has adjustable for windage rear sight, and it's just a dovetail. Has a tensioning screw down in on the top side there. And then on the back side, you'll see that it's serrated for anti-glare. Across the top, you'll see the serrations for anti-glare. And then we have a bright orange dot front sight that has a tritium vial in it. So there is no tritium in the rear, but we do have a tritium front sight, and again, it's dovetailed into place. The gun has forward and rear slide serrations, so depending on how you want to run your gun, you have those options. I like options. Some guys like to operate the gun from back here, some guys like to operate the gun from up here. I like it when companies take into consideration all types of shooters. Don't make a gun for one type of usage. Try to make a gun as useful to as many people as you possibly can, so more people will want your gun. Seems like common sense to me, but however, common sense isn't always so common in today's manufacturing business. The gun also features a slide stop slide release on both sides of the pistol. This is on the right side, so for left-handed use, you'll have that. And then on the other side of the pistol, we have a slide stop slide release. It has a 1911 style magazine release, and no manual safeties anywhere on the gun, all passive safeties. One of the safeties is on the trigger. You can see how the trigger is slightly different than a 1911. It has the same basic look, but you'll see that safety mechanism built into it. It's like the opposite of a Glock Dingus. It does have an external extractor and a Of course, the gun does lock open on the last shot fired. Now with the slide locked to the rear, you can see the barrel protruding. You can see it's using a standard Browning action, and you can see now the recoil spring guide rod way down low, quite a bit lower than you would normally find it on a 1911. The gun also has an accessory rail here for the addition of a light. Now you'll notice that this rail is about the same height as the bottom of the trigger guard. It has something of a smallish trigger hole here for your finger. I'm not sure how well that's going to work with a heavy gloved hand, but you will notice that this rail sits pretty low, so a light's going to sit really low on the gun. Holsters are already available for this pistol. I have a couple of them. I'm going to carry the gun around a little bit, carry it around the shop, and then I'll give you honest feedback on a couple of different holster options for the gun. Right now we're just focusing on firing the gun for the first time today and putting some different types of ammunition through it. So now let's get to the field stripping part. Drop the magazine out with the 1911 style magazine release. Just hit that. Magazine pops right out. I do believe these are proprietary 15-round magazines. I don't know that for sure, but just looking at it and have something of a vast knowledge of many different types of handguns, I can tell you that you can reverse the magazine release because it's cut on both sides, holds 15 rounds, and it does look to be proprietary. Its base plate also has the Hudson 9 logoing on the bottom. Now you're going to want to make sure that the weapon's empty. We've dropped the magazine out. I'm going to push up on the slide stop and lock the weapon slide to the rear, so now I can inspect the chamber. Chamber's clear. I'm going to push down on the slide stop and let the slide go home and let it go to full rest. Now this is very similar to, say, a Beretta. You have a disassembly button you need to push here, but it's flush mounted, and you're going to have to push it in, and it's going to take quite a bit of force. What that will do is pop this lever out on this side so that you can rotate this lever down. Now I've tried doing this with my finger, just using finger pressure and even bending my finger over. I can't push it far enough where it will pop out, so I use the polymer tip here on the magazine so it doesn't mar the gun, and just push a little bit on it and you'll hear it pop over. All right, so now you can, once it pops over, you can rotate this down to that position, and now I can pull the slide to the rear, let it go forward. You want to make sure that it's cocked, pull the trigger in a safe direction, and it should just come apart. Now be careful when it comes apart, guys, because this barrel will just want to drop right out. And then the barrel comes out much like a 1911, but you're going to notice that doesn't look like your standard 1911 barrel. On the inside, the lower receiver is all metal, so it's a metal upper, metal lower. It's not a polymer gun. You can see how it works. Here's your striker assembly. You can see how the weapon feeds. It's a very interesting design and how it locks up. You can see how that locking mechanism works right there, how it cams up and down and it pushes forward and back. So it's a Browning type action. Your lock is right here where it locks the barrel to the slide momentarily. Forward position right here, it fires, comes back, stops, the two separate, the slide goes to the rear, ejects the spent cartridge, goes home, feeds another round, and you can resume firing. So that's it. That's all there is to it. Now you can see the ambi slide stop slide release right there. Okay, to put the gun back together, this is the best way I found to do it, and it can be a little bit unnerving, so you do want to make sure the weapon's empty, but usually it is if you get it this far apart. Drop the barrel back into the gun. Hold this upside down, line up the slide rails, slide it back, and this recoil spring, which you can't take out, we've taken the gun as far apart as the manual tells you to, this recoil spring guide has to line up with this hole. And so you're going to want to move it around. Sometimes people will be inclined to point it at their face, but you can get it lined up just like I did without actually looking straight at the muzzle. Now I'm just going to pull the slide to the rear and lock it to the rear. I'm going to rotate this disassembly lever back up and then push it till it pops. And now the gun is back together. Overall, fairly simple, but it does take a little bit of practice to disassemble the gun, but it's a lot easier than, say, a standard 1911.
All right, guys, I'm going to give the Hudson 9 a try. Now, keep in mind, I have never fired this pistol yet. I've only been doing the camera work, so this will be my first time firing this pistol. Same with a 9mm 1911. I've never fired one of those either. A lot of firsts happening today. I don't really know what happened there. I'll have to go back to that round and take a look. So here's the 9mm 1911. I have to say, I agree with Tim on this one. There is more muzzle flip, if you will, on the 1911 versus the Hudson 9. Still, you know, great recoil impulses for both, but there is definitely more front end muzzle rise on this.
So you guys remember a video or two ago, I always said that one of two things are certainly going to happen when we film out here. An airplane's going to fly over, or Jason's dad's going to start mowing the lawn. Jason's dad decided to mow the lawn today, and it's 42 degrees outside. So anyway, we had to dig up that round that didn't go off. I wanted to find out what happened. The ammunition that we were using was another flavor. It's some old IMI military, Israeli Military Industries ammunition. This is subgun ammo. It's military ball. It has a very hard primer, and we got just a light primer strike. I'm gonna see if I can get this so Jason can focus on it. Just got a light primer strike. Now the primers on these are hard. I know that. I've shot this ammo for a while, and yeah, so that's pretty interesting that it didn't ignite. So we had 1 out of 15 rounds not ignite. We'll put it back into the Hudson 9 right now, and let's see if the gun fires. So let's go over here real quick and just drop that round into the gun and see if a second whack will set it off, or if it's just a bad round. But it does seem like a light primer strike. And it went off on that second shot. So I'm gonna say that that may have something to do with the fact that we're using the IMI ammunition, that really heavy prime stuff. I don't know, but we're gonna shoot this gun. We're hopefully gonna get about 200-300 rounds through it this afternoon. So I better quit talking, and I better start pulling the trigger. So guys, what we're doing in this video is we're showing you every single round that's being fired through the gun today. We're holding nothing back, all right? So we have some more Freedom Munitions ammunition we're gonna shoot here. I don't wanna make this video 2 hours long, so we're just gonna try to burn through it as fast as we can, just to show the gun working. We've applied no additional lubrication to the gun. We've not cleaned it, nothing. It's just we're stopping to load magazines. We're just not letting the camera run. I think that gets a little bit boring. So controllable. Now this is the Freedom Munitions 124 grain stuff. This is just a standard range load, and the recoil's just really light. And we're 25 yards from this target, guys. This thing shoots really nice, right to point of aim. I'm really liking the way this gun shoots. All right, so there we go. 3 more magazines. We'll have to stop the camera, load them up, and go at it once again. Again, with some of the 124 grain round nose Freedom, just standard old range ammo. Guys, you can pick this stuff up. I get no kickbacks from Freedom, but they do supply us with ammo here on the channel. But you can get a 6% discount by using the code down below for your range ammunition. They also sell higher end ammo as well. All right, guys. By the way, when I say higher end ammo, I mean they sell defensive ammo too. They sell not only their own brand of ammunition, Freedom, but Freedom also sells other brands of ammunition like really high-end self-defense ammo. And that 6% discount code works on everything in the store. All right, let's try a little man-sized challenge target over there. He's nice and freshly painted. Okay, we're about 25 yards away. Again, flawless function, guys. Gun seems, sometimes you feel like guns loosen up with use. This gun feels just the same. It was buttery smooth out of the box and still buttery smooth now. I really like the way it shoots. Load up some more mags. I know this has been a really long video, guys, but I wanted to show you every single round fired through the Hudson 9 from the first round down the barrel to the last round this afternoon. And that's because we wanted to show you guys just how reliable or unreliable the handgun was. We didn't know. This is the first time I've ever fired the Hudson 9. And so far, I have to say I was impressed. The only hiccup that we had this afternoon was with some old Israeli IMI ammunition, and I've had problems with that ammo in the past. It's some really, really old ammo I had to dig out of the safe from way in the back of the safe. I've had problems with it before. I think I had light primer strikes with my Glock 19 back in the day. So that wasn't surprising, but that was the only failure that we had with the Hudson 9 this afternoon. So we had a wide variety of ammunition that we dug up to shoot out of the gun this afternoon, steel cased, lacquered stuff all the way up to 124 grain NATO ball, and the gun seemed to function just fine with that one light primer strike. We haven't gotten around to the hollow points. We'll do that later. Plus I have 2 holsters I want to try out. I want to carry the gun around the shop and get a feel for it. I truly am intrigued by this handgun, guys. It feels good. It really shoots good. Jason and I both agree that it has a very muted recoil impulse. This gun is very controllable to shoot. It's very, very interesting to me because it has the ergonomics of a 1911, which is a handgun that I like, but it has the handling characteristics of a very controllable 9mm, and I'm just a fan of 9mm. As compared to an actual 9mm 1911, we both agree that this has much less muzzle rise during firing. So again, intrigued. The only thing that's kind of awkward about the gun is how thick it is right here. All right. And we do have an accessory rail down here. It might be awkward with a light. We'll try that in a future video, but we'll talk about all that stuff later. We have a lot more testing to do with the handgun, but so far I'm very impressed with it. Guys, the gun is not inexpensive. You're looking at about $1,147 for the gun, but you're gonna get what I think so far, based on a sample set of 1, is a high quality handgun. But again, only time will tell. I think we fired about 300, maybe 350 rounds this afternoon. We lost count, but I know one of you guys out there will go and count every single round fired, so go ahead and put that down below so we know. Guys, we greatly appreciate the support that you give us here at the Military Arms Channel. YouTube has demonetized a whole bunch of us. They don't like gun channels, they don't like knife channels, they don't like anybody that doesn't toe the party line apparently, but they've squashed us in the search results. They've killed our monetization. Some of us are down as much as 70%, so many of us have turned to Patreon. If you become a Patreon supporter of the Military Arms Channel, we try to give back as much as we possibly can. We give you blowout deals at Copper Custom. We have a new shirt line from our friends over at Forged from Freedom. We do 5 t-shirts, your choice of designs. We give away 5 of these every month to 5 lucky Patreons. And also our friends over at Freedom Munitions, who keep us in ammunition here on the Military Arms Channel, they give away $200 worth of ammo. 2 lucky winners will get $100 worth of ammo every month over on our Patreon page. Plus, we post behind the scenes information, and I do answer all private messages that you guys send my way. And you can also ask Jason questions. Jason's a full-time guy here now, thanks to our Patreons. And if you'd like to support us another way, just swing by and check us out over at Copper Custom. It's coppercustom.com. We have a lot of great products at great prices. Now for the last 15 rounds out of the old Hudson 9 here. And we'll see you guys the next time on the range. Man, that thing is controllable. I really, really do like the way this gun feels. More to come.